The Marvel Cinematic Universe's latest film, Thunderbolts, is set to come out next weekend, and according to critics who got to see early screenings of it, they're saying it's generally positive, or at least according to this article from The Direct. Thunderbolts' early reviews are here, and they reveal one clear consensus. Marvel fans have seemed to have another great movie on their hands after the first reaction to the MCU's Thunderbolts. Now, keep in mind, it says early reviews. These are early reaction. They're not full reviews. The full review embargo isn't going to be lifted until next week, right before the movie is released. And generally speaking, when a studio has a review embargo until the last minute like that, it's kind of a bad sign for the movie, because if the studio is confident that critics and audiences will love the movie, then they'd want to build up that hype surrounding it, so they'd have early screenings, and then they would let critics release their reviews way in advance, sometime even weeks in advance. But since they're holding it off until the last minute like this, it usually means that they don't want people seeing negative reviews prior to them already making a decision whether or not they're going to go see the movie. But still, the early reactions are positive, and I would say that that could be a good thing or a bad thing for the movie. I think it really doesn't matter in the long run, but I will get to that in a moment. But first, let's dive in a little bit more and see what they have to say about it. So, according to the first reactions and reviews for Thunderbolts, Marvel fans should be thrilled to see what's coming to for the MCU. Coming as the last film in the Marvel Studios Phase 5 slate, Thunderbolts will bring together a unique team of anti-heroes and villains to fight a new world-threatening enemy behind characters like Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova. The team will have to set aside their differences in order to keep the planet safe from the evil of Sentry. I think that supposed to be I think that's kind of a spoiler there, but whatever. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not really much of a spoiler. Thunderbolts comes with plenty of mystery, as many are still wondering what secrets the movie is keeping, including the oft-discussed asterisk in the title. Bringing together this new team of powerful heroes in lieu of an Avengers movie, Marvel is already building plenty of hype for what this story will deliver. And I will admit, as far as Marvel movies in recent years, this is the one that probably looks the most interesting, even though I have my criticisms for it. First of all, I don't think it really will work building a movie around a bunch of secondary characters, a lot of which that no one knows about unless they kept up with the Disney Plus shows. But still, I do like that they at least have a different tone and feel, or at least that's the impression I'm getting from the marketing. And that's something that was deliberate on Marvel's part. You hear Florence Pugh say that this is almost like a A24 indie movie, but with a budget. That's no coincidence. They're trying to market this as being something different from the rest of the MCU and trying to capture that crowd that might like indie movies, but otherwise want to watch a Marvel movie. Clearly, they're going for that demographic when it comes to this one. And what I like about this, or at least from what I've seen so far, is that, like I said, it has kind of a different feel to it, because one of the problems I've had with Marvel in recent years was all their movies basically just had that Marvel feel to it, where no matter who was making it or anything like that, or what the story was, it all just seemed like it was the exact same movie, almost like they found their formula and they started milking that until they realized, like, we can't do that anymore. So then they tried to change course. Compare that to the early days of the MCU, where every movie kind of had its own unique tone and feel to it. They've gotten away from that in recent years, but maybe with this one, they're going to kind of, I don't know, correct the course and go back to having their movies. If they have a different type of movie, then they're going to have a different type of feel and tone to it. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but at least that, like I said, that's the impressions I'm getting from this. Following the official screening for Marvel Studios Thunderbolts at Cineworld Lancaster Square in London, UK, critics have shared their social media reactions on X. The consensus from these reviews is that Marvel has delivered another successful hit after its last film, Captain America Brave New World, saw mixed reviews from critics. These reviews praise the dynamic between the titular team's members amongst chaos, often singling out Yelena Belova's star Florence Pugh for her work. One of the things, though, like it says, Captain America Brave New World saw mixed reviews, and that's true from these early reactions. But one thing, and one reason why I don't like to put a whole lot of stock in these early reactions is, if you recall, when Snow White came out, the reactions were already positive for that one too, because, like I said, they're not full reviews. They're just basically a line from the reviews that the critics are putting out. And Me personally, I mean, I did a review for Snow White and I found some positives to say about it. So if I was like told by the studio, like, hey, you can get an early screening to it so you can get your reviews out first and you can post your early reactions. We just ask that you're maybe a little bit kinder in your early reactions. If I was the type of person who was predisposed to do that, who cared about having that kind of access sort of thing, then I might be more willing to be like, okay, fine. I'm not going to lie or anything like that. I will just find like the one positive thing that I would have otherwise put in my review and I will post that first. And then when I post my review, it'll be scathing. And that's kind of what we saw with Snow White. So when I hear about critics giving these positive early reactions, I'm not really necessarily sold on it. It's possible that it's good because, like I said, when it came to Captain America Brave New World, the early reactions were mixed for that one. So it just because it's all good doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good. Just because it's all bad too doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bad either, because we've all seen time and time again many situations where critics hated something, audiences loved it. Minecraft is doing great right now, and it's a perfect example of that, where audiences really seem to like it. Critics, on the other hand, not so much, but that doesn't really matter when it comes to the success of a movie, because as long as audiences enjoy it and they show up to see it, then that's ultimately what matters to the studio, or at least it should be all that matters to the studio if they actually cared about, making money. Additionally, many rate the film as one of the better MCU movies in some time, noting the stakes, comedy, and emotions as the highlight. The Best Picture, Next Best Pictures, Matt Niglia described the movie as in many ways different from other MCU films that have come before it. Teasing some of Marvel's darkest material to date, he gave major props to Pew and Sentry actor Lewis Pullman for stand-up performances as part of a stacked cast. And then this kind of goes on to highlight some of the quotes from various people who saw this movie. I'll leave a link to this article in the description of the video if you want to check it out yourself. But one of the things about this, though, is whether or not it's kind of what I'm thinking, like, will this actually matter for the success or failure of the movie? And I don't think it's going to really do a whole lot for it. And here's why. We already got the early box office projections for this right now. And clearly these can be off. The box office projections, going back to Minecraft again, were about half of what it actually got. So they could be way off on this one, but according to what they're saying here is estimates 63 million to 77 million with a target number of $70 million. And last I heard, the budget for this was like 180 million, $200 million. I can't remember exactly. It's around that range. So given that type of budget and what they would have spent on marketing, this probably needs to make a minimum of $550 million at the global box office in order to just break even. And if it does hit the $70 million mark domestically during its opening weekend, that's not really a good sign for it. Box Office Pro says $85 million. That's still not a great sign for it, but who knows? It's whatever's possible, because one of the things when it comes to Marvel movies is they're generally front loaded, where they make the majority of their revenue, or at least I think it's like a third of their revenue during that opening weekend. And then it kind of falls off pretty steeply after that. This movie, since it has a different tone and feel to it, doesn't seem like something that we've seen from Marvel before. It might be a standout from what we've seen with Marvel in recent years, where they have that big drop during their second weekend. It's possible that a lot of people are just kind of on the fence about this one or not sure about it, because I don't think there's going to be those hardcore Marvel fans who are super invested in going to see this, because it does seem like it's something so different. And it's also a bunch of secondary characters that people, just no disrespect to them, but people just don't care about them as much as some of their major lineup characters like their Iron Man or Captain America or Spider-Man. So I'm thinking there's people who aren't really on board with seeing this right away, which accounts for why it's projected to have a weak box office opening during its opening weekend. But it's possible that if word of mouth from audiences is actually good, critics say it's good, because I can imagine, like me personally, I'm not super interested in watching it in theaters. But if I hear, like, when it comes out, critics say like, oh, this is fantastic, a great movie, and it's like a 90 some with critics on Rotten Tomatoes, if audiences likewise are saying like, oh, this movie's really good, then I think I would be more inclined to actually go watch it, because I'm not saying I'm not above hype or anything like that. I mostly just like kind of take a wait and see approach to many movies. So if I hear word of mouth from audiences like, no, this is really good, people who aren't normally huge fans of what Marvel's been doing in recent years going to see it and saying like, no, this movie's actually really good, then I would be more inclined to watch it. And I think at that point the movie could actually have legs and go on to become successful. Right now it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. It looks like if it just follows the same pattern as other Marvel movies when they've come out in recent years. These early reactions from critics aren't doing enough to sell me for it. I need to see actual reviews, not only from critics, but also from audiences in order to convince me. But I'm not going to say that this film is definitely going to be a failure. But right now, if I had to make a guess, just going by what I've seen from Marvel in recent years, I would say that this movie's probably not going to make any money at the box office, or it's probably going to lose money for the studio at the box office. But I could be wrong about that one. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below, though. Do you think these early reactions are good news for it? Do you think it's bad, or do you think it really just doesn't matter? And also, if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click that like button and share this video out there because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.